Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty sad news over here where it does seem like this upcoming Switch now is actually getting delayed from everything we're seeing over here from the news reports, leaks, and everything else. So we're going to go talk about this, talk about what we're expecting, talk about new release dates, talk about what you're actually looking for in terms of specs and everything else. So if you guys will stay tuned, relax, and enjoy. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We got that Twitter and Twitch room down below. We're probably live up on Twitch right this second if you guys are bored. And of course, sign up for that. We will get a bunch of random free stock and money if you guys sign up. You can just instantly sell it, withdraw it, all that type of good stuff. And let's go and dive on into the video itself. So as you guys have may or may not had a chance to go and see, the Switch 2, Super Switch, or whatever it might be called at this point, no one really knows, has been somewhat heavily rumored to be coming very, very soon. And that within the next 12 months by some folks, we've also been seeing Nintendo physically having it on hand. We're now seeing a lot of leaks in terms of what the specific internals are, such as brand new NVIDIA cards, different types of screens, and well, everything else. We also saw some pretty intriguing stuff when it came to shareholder meetings and stock meetings, and right now we're basically just kind of waiting to go and see on when this Switch might come out. Now, we do think the Switch might have a pretty good launch window, mainly due to the fact that it's kind of launching between the Xbox and PlayStation with not much other competition between the two, and everything else with it is also looking pretty nice for the Switch. So we're going to talk about this, though, because it does seem like right now we're seeing some pretty big delays on the console itself. Now, some folks are kind of calling out a lot of big delays, and I'm also not really sure if this is just people trying to... When it comes to leaks, it's always somewhat scary, because we never necessarily know if people are just trying to go and, cover their butt, or if they're not. We saw a lot of initial leaks saying that there was supposed to be, a Nintendo Direct, basically, very, very soon, and then whenever that day kind of passes, then we see all these random flurries of people tweeting saying, oh, it was supposed to be next week, or next month, or it got delayed, or whatever it might be. So I always kind of keep a lot of these leakers, especially the well-known ones, with a grain of salt, because typically sometimes I just kind of just see them we regurgitate what most people someone like me can go and say with a little bit of research. But with this, we're now seeing enough other outside sources that might kind of lead towards an ending date that's not as close as we expect. So right now, we're now seeing that sources for the Nintendo Switch 2 will now be apparently maybe launching in 2025. And also, it kind of depends on the fiscal years, too. So basically, we also have some updates, too, as well, that some people are now assuming today it will be a little bit on the delayed side. So Nintendo's next console could launch later than expected in early 2025, it's claimed. Now, some folks were kind of assuming a few different dates. We don't necessarily know until Nintendo says something, but some people are saying maybe this holiday season, so I think 2024 holiday season. Some folks were assuming this most recent Nintendo Direct in the next few weeks, few months, would have also maybe painted a picture of when it might happen. So they might announce it, talk about it, and kind of hype it on up, let pre-orders start rolling. And then some folks are now assuming maybe it might be as early as throughout 2025. So not the fiscal year of this year, which was the prior leak and date, but more so maybe this next upcoming bit of time. So maybe 2025 March, or even later throughout 2025, which is still kind of weird, because I do think sooner is almost better, because the specs aren't really crazy. We're still looking for around a PS5 spec, PS4 spec is pretty what a lot of people are kind of assuming, which is still good. It's a big improvement from the prior Switch generation, and it has been 7+ years now since the Switch has come out, or by the time it will come out, maybe 8 years or so. So we see this, and it's intriguing. But one of the bigger issues is that it sucks because it just keeps on getting delayed. No one ever knows until we have a proper official release date. So it's maybe not necessarily personally delayed, but more just anticipated later. So according to the Brazilian journalist Pedro Henrique Rupe Lepe, who claims a new OXD control video, that he received the information from 5 separate sources now. So it's not just a one-time thing all kind of spread around. According to the sources, they're also working on games targeting Q1 2025 to launch alongside the console itself, which has internally slipped out of a previous 2024 target. So right now, it seems like it's delayed. That line right there, it seems like it's more delayed, which kind of makes me sad, because I think I'm overdue for a Switch. I would actually go buy a new Switch, and it'd probably make the more recent games a little bit more fun. Plus, also, we were hearing rumors, we covered this on a prior video this past week, where they were going to have cross console generation play. So basically, if you have Switch games, you can probably go update them. We also saw way better internals on the APU, CPU, etc. So it seems nice. So Eurogamer reports it's heard similar whispers from industry sources this week, though has not been able to concretely go get it. And as well, a lot of folks are apparently saying like 2024, like holiday 2024 would make a lot of sense. We have no other big competition. There's not really that many other big major games coming out as well from the PlayStation or Xbox. It seems very low back and just chilling. So it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. Like early 2025 might be a little more on the different side because we don't necessarily know if there's gonna be like a PS5 Pro and Xbox refresh. Like just no one knows. These are like the big industry secrets. We have to wait to see. But it does seem like the Switch has been delayed. So makes us sad. So basically, since publishing Story 2 as well, they've also heard that they also will maybe trying to go launch Q1 2025, which would be around like the first few months of this, but some people also saying it might have been a little bit delayed too as well. But either way, the 2024 release date does seem delayed. So according to the sources, third-party game companies were recently briefed on an apparent internal delay in Nintendo's next-gen launch timing from late 2024 to early the following year. So we're basically now pretty much looking at a 2025 release date. We saw March for the prior one. It makes sense around there. So one publishing source suggested the delay was so that Nintendo could prepare stronger first-party software, but I think I'm good with this delay. Now, I think it's sad overall that the console's being delayed. Like, don't get me wrong, that's sad. But if they also want to focus and fine-tune on a proper launch title to incentivize folks to play the games, whether it's like a new Pokemon game, or this new Mario game, which are both kind of overdue. Like, not so much on Pokemon, but Mario for sure. Zelda's not necessarily overdue, but we'll probably see a Zelda in this upcoming next console for sure. But unless they had something completely, like, in the works for a while, if they were cooking, I don't think there's going to be a new Zelda game for quite some time. I think it's going to be, like, a really long time. Mario, though, is very, very overdue for, like, a proper 3D Mario. We've seen a few of those, like, kind of, like, fun 2D games, or, like, spin-off games, or, like, Mario Tennis. Stuff like that. Those are fun games, sure. But they're not necessarily crazy console sellers. Something like a brand new 3D, like proper Mario, or like just any type of those like bigger Nintendo IPs, they could be console sellers and be like, hey, look at this brand new Mario game, go buy it, go get it. Which is kind of nice. So if they want to go and postpone the console itself to give a better first few months of like launch, I think I'm down with that. Especially with how many people critique the PlayStation, even for right now. There's been a lot of really big media outlets like basically critiquing the PlayStation that it's just not like given any games throughout this year. We'll have a few games on PC, we'll have a few games on PlayStation, like things like Stellar Blades, Horizon coming to PC. Like, sure, we'll have it. We also haven't confirmed things like, say, Venom, if that's going to happen this year or not, or like a Spider-Man DLC, or any big mainstay games. And they already kind of confirmed that there isn't going to be one at a public shareholder meeting, unless something like unique pops up, which I would really like to see later on throughout the year. But when it comes to all this type of stuff, is that it's intriguing because we just want games, and I want a new Switch. The prior Switch hardware is just old and outdated. I don't want it. And so it's kind of like a 50-50. I think I'm definitely in the mindset of if I can wait to have better first-party titles and have more games actually play on my console and make that like the launch period more exciting, I'd be down with that. I'd be hyped up for it. Now, if I didn't go and have as many games, what's going to be the reason for me to want to upgrade? Especially if they have like that cross-console generation connection where you can still play all these games on my Switch, how they did with the PlayStation and the PS4. Like, it just seems fun. Like, I'm down with that. I want new games. I want to enjoy new games. So I think I support that at least, although having delays, it all sucks. Also saying this next-gen console will now follow a similar timeline to the Switch, which was released in March, but announced the previous year, which would also maybe make sense too. We announced it at some point throughout this year, let them start mass producing it, set up some pre-orders, and after that's all done, then we go and enjoy, well, everything else. And they've also had other people too, such as Eurogamer, collaborating that maybe a Q1 2025 release date. They said the console's launch moving into early next year, but still within the coming financial year, is designed to ensure Switch's 2's lineup features as many titles as possible. So two development sources VGC spoke to on Friday indicate that they were working on a Switch 2 game planned for release next early year, but they could not confirm as well because they have to wait for it. So we're now seeing Industry 2 as well confirming this. Although the company is yet to comment publicly, Nintendo Switch successor is widely expected to launch as of this year, and its latest earnings meeting earlier this month. Nintendo President Satoru Furukawa again declined to comment on plans for its next-generation console. The exec instead insists that the current Nintendo Switch iteration would be Nintendo's main business heading into 2024. The company's plan for the next fiscal year will be shared at its next earnings briefing in May, he said. Nintendo's next fiscal year could have run until April 2025, so it could include a console launch, even if it's been delayed into the calendar year, which is what we're talking about. If there was in the first month or so, or March, it would still technically count, but it does seem like 2025 is going to seem like the most date due to the delays. Dr. Sakan Toto, CEO of Tokyo-based game industry consultancy Katan Games, also did recently predict the new Nintendo will be launching around the $400 price point too as well, and they're also going to see if they're going to be pushing the $70 price tag, which I don't think a lot of folks really want to deal with. So it does kind of seem like the console is still looking good, shaping up good, but we're still waiting for it to pop off. And at the end of the day, things kind of suck because I want the console, but if they gotta let it cook a little bit longer, I think I'm okay with it. Give me all your thoughts and comments on this down below. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream as well. If you guys would like to follow, probably live up on Twitch right this second, so drop a follow or say hi. We also have all the other various links too as well, such as the Weeble link, so go and sign up for that. Deposit any bit of money, you guys get a bunch of free stock if you guys want to make a little bit of casual cash on the weekend, and I appreciate y'all so much for watching here in the first place.